0.
If your organization is taking more than usual time to onboard a supplier, then this is the video you should watch and learn how we solve this problem for one of our client. We were engaged with one of our client and where we were doing the source to pay process improvements, and client asked us to look into their supplier onboarding process. The scenario was that the business was taking more than 32 working days to onboard average supplier. The result of that was that business lost agility to work with more competitive suppliers. Their approvers were taking more time to perform due diligence because most of the time they were doing it out of the system. The required certificates from the suppliers were not managed very well, and therefore they had many compliance issues. The supplier risk assessment was very manual and was dependent on the individuals. The end users had very less transparency into the process, and most of the time they were calling the procurement help desk to get the status of their supplier. Overall, the system, the process adoption was very low, and you can imagine that the environment which gets created because of all these problems is not very helpful for the growing organizations. The role of the procurement was undermined, and because the business need to continue with the activities, they identified the process loopholes to onboard the suppliers without proper due diligence and risk assessment, just for the billing purpose, right? The client was embarking on spot fixes, but their earlier attempts were failed. We suggested a different approach following our value realization framework and proposed a plan for to the procurement leadership with an end-to-end business process view to refine, uh, redesign, and re-engineer their supplier onboarding process, which included a layer of system intelligence to determine the supplier risk level and then trigger different activities based upon the supplier risk profile. We started gathering inputs from their business teams, which included procurement and non-procurement teams, and we brought all the out of the system processes into a single system and simplified it for better understanding of the end users. And we finally delivered a workable, efficient, risk-free, and compliant process for supplier onboarding using SAP Ariba Supplier Lifecycle and Performance module, and which kept all the stakeholders satisfied. Because of our work, client could onboard the low-risk suppliers just under 4 days. So you can easily see the reduction from 32 working days to 4 working days. That was massive. And that too without compromising on the supplier due diligence, supplier risk, and compliance. The end users had better transparency on the entire process. Gaining confidence on the supplier onboarding process because of our work, the client procurement team launched a re-registration project for all their legacy suppliers to cover all the due diligence, the supplier risks, and the compliance issues which they had on their legacy system, legacy supplier base. We at Value Weaver are available to help your organization to revive your processes and advise on the right procurement technology for you. So let's get connected and strengthen your procurement organization with Value Weaver. Thank you very much.